All right. We're live.
We're live.
Mitchel Sheppard.
Eric Mclaughlin. Wait. Mclaughlin.
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 Mclaughlin. I like, every now and then I'll do, like I've been doing a lot of comedy lately, like I said to you. And they'll always go like, hey, now it's Eric Mclaughlin. And I'm like, fuck. Like, that's the worst when they do that.
That's how they introduce you?
Yeah, because it sucks. Because it's like, you know, you don't want to be the guy who's like, Mclaughlin. You know, that's so lame. Let me adjust the camera just a bit.
That's a lot of pressure, too.
It's a lot of pressure. And it's just like, dude, what are we doing? Just a tiny bit. That's good. But, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But it's an Irish name, so.
I feel like if I were venturing or trying out the stand-up world, I would want the bar to be set as low as humanly possible.
Yeah.
On my intro, so that the ceiling for my expectations on my audience was just
Is easily hit.
Here you go, Nina. You seem like you need that.
Yeah. It's fun. Like I said, I did a podcast with a comic last night, and he was telling me a little bit about how he started. He's been doing it for like 2 years. And he was like, yeah, I had a good job. And then I was like, you know, this sucks. And he was like, I'm just going to do comedy.
I would assume there's like definitely a nuanced psychological element behind stand up and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like some routine or some sort of stuff you'd have to, I don't know, I at least would like get in the habit or ritual of doing before every.
It's kind of like sales in a lot of ways. Like, because, you know, when you first meet someone, you don't want to be aggressive with them. You don't want to be like too in their face.
Totally.
But you also kind of want to be friendly.
And you have to kind of cater to their style, whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's kind of what it's like with that. I think it's a lot like sales. It's just, because if you call someone, it's like a cold call. You know? It's literally a cold call. Because when you call someone, some people, they cold call you and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean?
Yep. No, yeah.
And then other times you're like, all right, it was a pretty good intro. Like, this guy's kind of killing it.
Right.
You know? It's exactly the same. But it goes for 3 minutes. And it's just about being charming. But
Well, and and I mean, I don't know. Certain areas and certain demographics find certain things funny, and I did a transaction one time with an overnight baker, in my working hours.
overnight baker.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So there are bakers,
Yep.
and then there's an overnight baker.
Completely separate ballgame.
That's crazy.
So apparently there are certain, and obviously it depends on, you know, where the person's employed and, you know, what type of bakery it is. But it is the, what is it? It was the bakery over, like in the Hyde Park area that everybody knows and loves. Like Quacks or something like that.
Quacks.
I think is the name of it, but it's been there for forever. And anyways, long story short, they've got certain things that can be made before they open up early in the morning.
Yeah.
And then they've got certain things that need to be done overnight on a daily basis, and that's what he does. It was wild. So
That's crazy.
My schedule was definitely oriented to his hours, which was very interesting.
Who would
Like showings, all that stuff. It was weird.
who's in the situation where they're like, we need an overnight bake? You know what I mean? We're in a pinch. You know? When does that ever happen?
And no, seriously. And with all those like job sites and stuff out there, like Fiverr, and, you know, like I just want to know what the, like, you know, obviously there's people that manage that business and they got to a room and they were like, hey, this is our need and we need it badly. And that's just funny to think about. I totally agree. Because yeah, it is wild. And the weird thing is the fact that there's people that are, that's their bread and butter.
Overnight baking?
Yeah.
I feel like you could get away with
Batman
being a shitty baker because you're an overnight baker.
Completely agree.
You know what I mean?
Completely agree. Like, look, I'm the one guy you could find that will work 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Ma'am, you hired the overnight baker. We don't get it done right. We get it done in time.
It was my daughter's 6th birthday, not 9th. Oh, yeah. That had to have been Jerry. our overnight guy.
He's our overnight specialist. He got it on time though, didn't he?
Yeah, you got it on time. You needed expedited shipping.
That's like an overnight dentist. That's a thing.
Right. Yeah. No, seriously.
But I could see that being more important.
I mean, I think anything in the medical, to your point, yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Dentistry feels a little cosmetic, so it's almost like you could probably wait a day.
True.
You know what I mean?
That is a very good point. It really isn't. It is. Hey, that's a good point. I never really thought about it like that.
But then have you seen that movie Palm Springs?
Yeah.
You remember that? They had to get like a dentist in a pinch.
In a pinch, yep. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And that's an interesting situation where it's like, I need a dentist now.
Right. Yeah. Like right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like, I don't know. I mean, I've been to parties and stuff, and I've been out with friends, and I mean, I've had people, like hangover type scenarios. You lose a tooth, you got the wedding the next day. What do?
You call like a Breaking Bad-esque, like Saul Goodman dentist.
Exactly.
It's just gonna come in and
he's like, "Hey, son, this is ivory from cattle.
Yeah,
we're just gonna pop this in. You come see me in 3 days."
You're like, "Ivory, you mean from Africa?" He's like, "Yeah, it's highly illegal."
Highly illegal. So you do not want to know how I got here.
Yeah. I wonder what ivory actually sells for. Have you ever like heard of that?
Oh my god, yeah. What was it? I did
Come here.
every school has their like, at least when I was getting like in elementary and middle school, every school has like their own like excelled learning or like creative and intuitive learning class for like language arts and things like that. And ours was called Quest.
Yeah.
And it was something you had to test into. But essentially it was just like an advanced it counted for a language arts credit. I remember that. But essentially it was just like an elevated, like think tank, and you just did a bunch of projects.
Yeah.
And I did a project on like some sort of fish, like some sort of endangered species of marine wildlife in off the coast of Africa. And it opened my like eyes as a youngin' up to like, what was it? The white rhinos, all the elephants over there getting poached.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess the funny part of this stupid story, I had a friend who I used to play sports with, and his dad was like our neighborhood sports basketball coach. Mm-hmm. And they lived in a very average suburbia home, but when you walked in, there were like wall mounts of giraffes and elephants, and I mean like big game stuff. Like this guy I think that was his hobby. Was this guy
taxidermied it himself?
Yeah, yep. No, I doubt it.
Yeah,
no. He
had to get like
he was a
Chuck,
carpet sales guy.
Remember Chuck Testa? You remember that?
Weirdo. But yeah. Anyways,
but did he have ivory?
Yeah.
And how much was it?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I know for a fact that.
What about a rhino horn?
The older I get, and I do participate in hunts and stuff like that. The older I get, I have started to realize how expensive some of that stuff is.
Your shirt was a giveaway,
right? Shirt, hat. I don't know what it was today. The sun was out. I don't know.
Yeah, you were like feeling good.
Yeah, feeling sneaky.
I'm feeling sneaky.
But anyways, yeah. So it's definitely extremely exclusive and high end to participate in those hunts, and to take that shit home.
Well, what'd you learn about the rhinos?
They're few and far between
Yeah.
in terms of wildlife out there, and there are tribes that'll like put their life on the line to protect those things from like poachers and stuff,
Really?
which I thought was the most interesting thing.
That's kind of badass.
Because like, could you imagine if like, I live up northwest, and what is it? The Bull Creek Nature Preserve is like the closest thing to me that's protected wildlife, and I think the yellow warblers out there.
Yeah.
It's like a little tiny Tweety bird that's yellow, and I just like to think, like, could you imagine if me and the fellow community members of the Bull Creek
We're like,
greater
we'll
area,
fucking
we're
die.
like, if we see someone back there, we will throw ourselves
we
in the
will
line of
die
fire.
for them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought that was super interesting.
That is kind of cool.
because it's like part of their culture. Like
I feel bad. I've kind of talked shit about rhinos in the past, just because I'm like, why are we spending money to conserve this animal? That's been something I've made an argument
I don't
about.
think you're a shitty person for that. Understanding why there's such cultural significance and like specialness behind a rhino, I completely agree. Like it is a beefed up armored tank for no reason.
Right.
Like it I mean,
And to keep that thing alive
Right.
requires a lot of sustenance
Oh my
and
God,
a
yeah,
lot
could you
of
imagine?
what's going on with the camera. Hold on,
oh, we're lagging.
we're frozen here.
There we go.
I don't know what's going on. Oh, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Jarvis fixed that.
But yeah, the rhino. I've always been like, why? Like, what's the point of conserving that animal? Another one is like the polar bear.
Well, we don't like I mean, and I could be so wrong.
Yeah,
But my knowledge on this is all stemming from probably fictional science fiction movies.
yeah.
But we used to like ride the rhinos into battle.
Stop.
We don't do that anymore.
People
That's
were
the
doing
point.
that.
I feel like it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You see it all the time. Like,
What? You
well,
see it all the time
in all
What?
the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do know that they use the elephants.
Yeah, elephants was real.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, rhinos are right there.
Damn, whoever's mounting a rhino's got some fucking balls.
In the Gladiator movie that just came out.
Yeah,
There's there's a dude riding a rhino. Wow. Who's like one of the bosses in the.
But I still
lack of better
can't. I still don't think it's quite enough to spend actual tax dollars.
No, I completely, especially
You know
at
what
this
I
day
mean?
and age.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no practical use.
and
for
there's
them at
like
all
20
whatsoever.
of them.
Right, and what are they like? I don't know. Like, what are we going to teach them how to become like agriculturally efficient? Like they're going to pull the plows and. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably not.
But probably not.
No, I feel
and
like they're
and it'd be
so-
there's way better animals to do that with than a fucking rhino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mina is desperate for attention today. I do not know why.
That's okay.
But yeah, the rhino, and then the polar bear was the other one that I'm like, why do we give a shit about polar bears? They're monsters. They kill people. Like they're evil.
On a polar bear related note, did you know that the polar bears are coming down to like Canada and the greater like North American woods, and they're mating with the what's the species called? The grizzly bears. It's a
or black
specific
bears?
type. It's a specific type of grizzly, but they're mating and they're creating super bears. That's pretty cool.
Super bears. Super bear.
So
I mean, a polar bear and a black bear. What is that? A gray bear?
the black bears are the ones that you are not afraid of.
Really?
The small ones. The grizzly bears are
They're browner.
Yeah, more browner and gray bears when they're full grown. And then the
Why are they more
brown
deadly? Why is a
bears,
black bear not deadly?
significantly smaller, and they have more of a what's it called? Vegetarian diet.
Interesting.
So they don't. In order to be fat and happy, they don't need to rip things apart and eat meat.
So the grizzlies are the one that are eating salmon and shit
yeah,
like that.
the ones you see in the catching the streams and all that stuff with a big old.
You ever been on a hunt and run into a bear?
Seen one, run into any issues? Not at all. Not at all. They're pretty, if you're out there, especially with more than one person, it's pretty easy to intimidate something like that.
Just kind of like flop your hand. You seen that one of the bear charging those guys?
I've seen a million of them.
And he's
I
like,
feel like.
oh, and just stands his ground.
Have you? Yes. And have you seen back to elephants? Have you seen the ones of the?
I have
also,
seen this.
Another crazy thing about the elephant hunts and all that wildlife, it has to be guided because
Yeah.
those guys have to go out there and like tell you, you know. I don't know why it has to be guided. Maybe it's because Africa's so big and they're only in certain locations, and the only way to get out there is somebody who knows it like the back of their hand. Versus, I don't know. Here you can like get up off the interstate and go into the highway, like just into the forest somewhere. But yeah, that stuff's crazy. Like the charging elephants, and they just sit there completely poised, and they're like,
They do that, and the elephant's like, oh shit.
"My fault, OG."
Yeah. Even though it's like 3 tons, it will just hit the brakes.
And it has, it either has so much respect for that dude for whatever reason, or it has no idea that it's 3 tons.
It just has no clue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you were charging like even a chihuahua
right.
at like max speed,
Right.
and this thing holds its ground and is like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Oh yeah.
You might break for a second and be like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Wait,
You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me rethink my. Yeah.
But then you're
That's a good point.
But then like your real human brain would kick in and be like, dude, I could punt this thing. There'd be no issue.
Well, that's the problem that I have with the elephants, isn't it? Isn't it like, humans' brain and the functionality is far superior. And then you've got like it's like squids, octopus, and then
Dolphin.
You're right. Dolphin. I was thinking
Elephant is up there. Elephant's up there.
Because they can do the paintings and stuff.
They can do paintings.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then there's like chimps. I think chimpanzee is the best of the monkeys. And then I think orangutan is up there.
I can just watch an orangutan do orangutan stuff all
Dude,
the
I'm
time.
terrified of monkeys.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But if I go to a zoo and I'm looking at all the exhibits, I love watching the orangutans.
I like watching those things of them showing them magic tricks.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck? Whoa. That's the most humanizing moment of a monkey is when you're like watching a magic trick. And it's like, that's crazy that they get it. I also saw one of this female monkey drops her baby in a river.
Okay.
And she starts freaking out and running after this baby and pulls it out of the river. And like just the expressions that were on the mother's face, it was like, damn, that's a person, dude. Like that's a human being. She was going through it right there. She was going through it. Right. And it's scary to watch. It's like, dude, that's fucking crazy to see another species.
You know what would be cool? I just thought of this. A TV series or some sort of series where you basically capture, this would be the hardest part about the show. You capture all of those like moments where it's, just different species of monkeys looking very humanized, for lack of better terms. And you just add subtitles. And it's just like, at that point in time, it's the writer has control over what's happening.
You remember Blind Date?
No, actually.
That show? Yeah, look it up. On Blind Date, they would do that where like it would be two people on a date and there'd be awkward moments and tension, and then they would put subtitles underneath like Dan's thinking if he's still going to get laid tonight. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And if you did that with the monkeys, I think that would be pretty perfect.
I completely agree.
I should pull it up here. Let's see. Blind Date.
Oh, with Rob?
Rob
Lowe was the host.
Was it Rob Lowe?
No, it wasn't. This guy just looks like Rob Lowe.
No, this is like a modern version.
Roger Lodge.
Oh, this one here. This was it. Blind Date, the TV show, 1999.
Yeah, Roger Lodge, yeah.
Roger Lodge, yeah, that's it. It was super funny, man. They would put these people on just a random day, and then they would put the subtitles being like,
I love
"Oh,
that,
Rob dropped the ball there," and like it's so good. It was so funny to watch. Oh man, but yeah, man, monkeys are terrifying. How's work? You said you got a contract.
Yeah, I first time home buyer. She is interested in the East Austin area, so that's where we ended up narrowing down on.
Nice.
She's lived over there. She's definitely one of the more educated first time home buyers that I've ever met.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a two-edged sword. Makes my job not as fun, but a lot easier. And it's like I can't complain about either of those.
Yeah.
So because normally with first time home buyers, it's damsel in distress scenario, if you will.
Yeah.
It's walk them through the whole purchase agreement step by step. They have no idea, what any of these mean. And, we start, going through the do's and the don'ts and, the commonalities of a real estate transaction. And, you just open their eyes up to tons of stuff.
How'd you meet him?
Open house.
Oh, nice.
Open house. So super organic. Always great.
Always great.
But,
just a good convo and then boom.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the best?
Oh, completely agree.
Isn't that just better than anything else?
Completely agree.
Yeah. I feel like every other transaction just isn't fun.
No.
Because it just feels so scripted. But whenever it's like, oh, I just know this guy or this person sent me this person, that feels so much more rewarding than getting like a lead online or something.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
To your point, to comprehend the differences, super organic, awesome conversation with her and her friend at the open house. We end up representing her. It's awesome. Got a referral opportunity from an agent who does, a different type of real estate than I do. and that's, just his wheelhouse exclusively. And this person was looking more, residential oriented. And this guy's from New York. I've been texting back and forth with him for probably the last 5 or 6 days now. And he's telling me what he's eating for dinner.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I'm just like...
Oh, your homies.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm like, this is never going to go anywhere. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Let's start, answering some legitimate questions that I'm asking here. Anyway, so yeah, definitely a big difference.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is good. And then with the market, you think it's been picking up at all?
It has been. I will say, we've seen, and this is just me. Everybody always sees different things based on their experience and what they're working on currently. But we've seen 3 now. Unless this property we're under contract turns into something different than it is, it'll be just 3. But 3 within the last 30 calendar days, multiple offer scenarios. And we haven't seen that in a really long time. And it's, the first time it happened, it was, we all just were like, oh, indication market's getting better. Things are ramping up. People are more confident. We've got, confident shoppers out. Always good. And based on, the relevancy of it happening in such a condensed time frame, it seems to be it's location based, because shoppers who were looking in this area, historically, just anybody who's been looking at a certain area that they know and love for an extended period of time is looking right now, and their, rates are below 7%.
Right.
Prices are still attractive, but not, the lowest they've ever been. So I think that kind of boosted their confidence a little bit. And they're, honestly, I think at the end of the day, they're like, 2 years ago, this property would have cost me $150,000 more.
Yeah.
Might as well go ahead and get it now.
Might as well do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now's a pretty good time. I think now's a solid time. I think people were worried about like timing.
Agreed.
And everything for quite some time. And I think now it's just like, you got to put that aside. I think now it's a pretty solid time.
I completely agree. There's a member in our BNI group. His name is Matthew Luna, and he owns a tech company called Lunatech. And he did a small little demo for us last Thursday. And he basically, he spent like a few minutes just facilitating like everyday usage on his laptop. Went to YouTube, opened up his Gmail, did like a host of things that, you would do just using your computer. And he did it without his ad blocking software. And then he basically replicated the exact same thing with his ad blocking software. And like, I'm just visually watching it. I'm not even the one using it. And like, I got a sense of like, oh my God, like, wow, there's just, like the blankness. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just in the columns and the sidebars.
Wasn't there another guy in the BNI that did something along those lines? I think Melissa brought a guy that did some kind of... he was doing identity theft.
Oh, yeah. That guy's a hoot. He pops in every once in a blue moon. Just like for a visitor. And,
he was cool, though. I like that guy.
He is cool. He's just, back to the point about sales, he's just like too aggressive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He talks like... He had a really bad experience with identity theft, and he just is kind of like
leaning into it.
Yeah, not necessarily victim mindset like we were talking about earlier, but he's just like he thinks that's what's going to happen to everybody. Like that there's no case of identity fraud that's too big or smaller than that.
My dad got hit pretty bad.
I feel like a lot of people have.
Yeah, my dad got it bad, man, and screwed his credit up. He has no idea how it happened, but they were just buying TVs and shit, and on his credit card and opening up a bunch of credit cards. Right. And it was like, damn, this is nuts. How you can do that?
I think my pops is on his 5th Apple card.
Oh, really?
And I mean, this came out 2 years ago.
Because people are just ripping him.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's crazy. Have you seen those people that do those things where they have like a silent, not a silent, but it's like a camouflage machine on an ATM?
I am guilty, and I don't like. I'm genuinely curious. Does that make me racist? Because if I'm not like filling up or buying something at a convenience store that I regularly use, I will pull up on that shit and see if it's a fake one.
So how do you check?
You literally. I've watched enough of those videos.
Yeah.
And I've seen enough people get caught, like the store clerks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you basically just like the easiest way to do it is like when you're tapping, like pulling out your card, everything's tapped now. And the easiest way, if there's a line of people behind you, to not look like a jackass, is when you're tapping just with one of the fingers that you're not using to hold your card, just pull up on one of the four corners. And if you get any sort of movement, like those things are supposed to be
able to snap on and off pretty quick.
Yeah, and those things.
So you do that? That's not
fixed.
Racist.
And so, yeah.
Are you doing it in specific neighborhoods?
No.
Then it might be a little racist.
Exactly.
That's redlining, brother.
I feel guilty every time I do it. Because
I check too. I do that with parking meters.
People the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah, I do that with parking meters. I'm always like, I'm sketched out by parking meters.
Do you not use the the app, like the Austin parking app or whatever?
No, I should, because I've been going down there a lot lately, and I should just get the app because it'd probably be easier. But yeah, I am definitely guilty of that as well with parking meters.
I always wondered that. I'm like, what? Like, if somebody's like in blind looking at me, like I wonder what
they think.
Yeah, that's all. That's.
Oh, they should be knowing what you're doing.
I hope
they're like, he checked. That's good. I like that he checked.
Good. That's what I would think.
I don't think that's racist at all. I think that's just you're educated and you know, like I got to make sure
that I'm not walking into a trap here.
Yeah, I'm not getting fucking screwed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I get it.
But
to make sure, because I feel guilty. I'm like, why?
No, you shouldn't feel guilty. No, because there's been enough. I mean, that's the thing. And what a genius way of fucking taking a credit card.
Have you seen the big ones, like that go on the actual ATMs, the whole coverings?
Yeah, I have seen those. Yeah. Those are some crazy ones. I've seen another one. I've seen is a guy who had like a scanner, like a tap scanner.
That's how you're screwed.
And he'll walk up to behind someone and just kind of like tap their wallet.
Yep.
That's fucking nuts.
No, yeah, that's how I think you're like to your dad. That's probably what happened. Like he was in a congested area of people, whether it's a mall, a music venue, a bar, a restaurant, and some fucking piece of shit.
But what I've been doing is I have I drive a Tesla now, so my key is like a card.
Right.
And then I just have credit cards, and it's all strapped on my phone. So I can keep it in my front pocket, and I feel like it's more protected in my front pocket.
Agreed, for sure.
But with a wallet...
At least you can see what's going on in front of you.
Yeah, and I hated having 3 items to look after, and now I just have one.
Well, it's like the guy pat down, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Funky's wallet.
Yeah.
But now it's just like...
Yeah.
All
simplified.
It's simplified. But people make the argument, they're like, well, if you lose that, and then you're really screwed.
True.
And it's like, well, I have an extra card key. I can cancel my credit cards.
Yeah, with a click of a button.
And I mean, the phone, if you lose your phone, you are screwed.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty bad one.
Yeah, it's your lifeline these days.
But I never carry cash.
I don't either. Every once in a while I do, but it always goes towards some sort of like balloons or something open house oriented.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
Whenever I have cash, I blow it right away. I'm like, get this shit out of my hand. Yeah, it's free.
That's like, seriously.
What a crazy thing to say. Imagine saying that 50 years ago.
I know.
People be like, what the fuck, these guys? Well, even they had credit cards back then. But I feel like plastic back then was really exceptional.
Right, yeah.
You know? People were like, oh, you have a credit card. You know?
Wow. Back to the phone thing. I was at an open house the other day, and oh my God. So obviously I see tons of different characters on a day-to-day basis, just in houses, you know, whether I'm scheduled appointments with them or I've just got a house open and I don't know who's going to walk through. This guy came through, I shit you not, with a radiation detector to the open house.
Stop.
Seriously.
Dude.
Seriously. He was so well spoken about everything. It wasn't until the end where he started to really open up and show his true colors, where I was like, man, maybe I should buy one of these on Amazon and just see, because this guy's bringing up some good points.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it got too far. He was too far gone at the end, and I was like, okay, this guy's a nut.
I mean, that guy will convince you for half a second.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, you live your whole life like this.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Like, you look out the window, you see what he's driving, you're like, oh.
It's like, oh, dude, you covered your car in aluminum foil. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, he was your comment about putting all this stuff in the back of the phone is what reminded me of it. 'Cause he's hell bent on the fact that all the 5G and in addition to the radio and the vibrations from our phone are just like destroying our nuts.
So this was a huge thing back when phones first came out.
Yeah.
Like it was a big topic.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like it's coming back.
I don't know why it
RFK
ever
is
went
all
away.
over it.
Yeah, I don't know why it ever went away.
Let me look this up. Do you believe it?
I definitely believe in the vibration aspect of things. Like, I think every time you get a notification, and like if I don't know if the camera can see me, but if I've got
it's easy.
Just normal average man sitting posture right now, and if my phone or something like that is in one of these front pockets and I'm getting blown up, I could definitely see some like long-term health risks associated with that. The vibration, being that close to,
Your nutsack?
yeah, my nutsack. And, I could definitely see some negativeness going on there. The 5G stuff, man, I honestly don't think I'm educated enough to have an opinion.
Yeah, look at this. 2011 cancer. Let's see. International Agency research. Possible carcinogenic to humans. Classified that it was determined by 30 scientists from... I mean, this is kind of still up in the air, though. For example, research found that EMF mobile phones are associated with glioma, a type of brain cancer. On the other hand, it did not find any clear association between high frequency EMFs and brain cancer. Okay, so like this is all like it's very kind of like all right. There's some studies.
I wouldn't be surprised though. I mean, like think about it. Anytime you introduce like some major change
Right.
to society that 99% of people use, I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of like health risks associated with whatever it is.
Also, like, and this is kind of a crazy thing to say, but I think it is kind of true. If 5G is dangerous for your health, what are you saying? Like, just shut off 5G? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, maybe just don't keep your phone in your pocket all day. But other than that, I mean, you're not just going to not have a phone.
I completely agree. And to your point, I mean, the first point you brought up, how realistic is it? I couldn't facilitate the business that I need to do on a day-to-day basis if
without
I did
your
not
phone.
have my phone in my pocket or my hand.
You're handicapping yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
For like a 0.01 chance of cancer.
Right.
And it's like at that point, I'm taking the risk of cancer.
But then what's your counter argument? Apple comes out with AirPod Gen 10, and it's just you you accompany that in your Apple Watch, and you basically don't need a phone anymore.
Right.
So then you don't have to, you can keep your phone out of your pocket. Well,
right.
There's no way that the headphones inside your ear, closer to your brain, are any better than the blue light and whatever else you're picking.
You mean
up
like the
on
AirPods?
Phone. Yeah. There's no way that just. What I'm trying to say is that there's no way that implementing, like relying on a piece of technology that we've only had X amount of years to study, I feel like there's just bound to be some sort of health associated risk.
Yeah,
with somebody.
There's probably some. In 500 years, they'd probably judge us for shoving 5G in our face.
Exactly.
But again, it's like it's the same thing with like the ancient Romans.
Right.
It's like, yeah, they had lead in their wells, but they...
And we're like, oh my God, I can't believe, you raised your kids around that?
Yeah, and they were a little ignorant, but it did create one of the greatest civilizations ever.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like, yeah, they had to do that.
Totally.
So, I mean...
I always think it's fun if you could bring back like a... Because obviously we've had lots of eras of humanity.
Yeah.
If you could bring back, one representative of every era.
Yeah.
The Eric and the Mitchell of every era. And you sit them down in a room and they basically just argue like people argue about the 96 Bulls and the 87 Celtics.
Yeah.
Or the 2018 Golden State Warriors. It's like, all right, who's the best dynasty of all time? Because they all have
that's fun.
completely different like perspectives, and they don't have any predisposition. Like they're.
What do you think it would be? Like lining everybody up? What do you think? Honestly, I think we are killing it. Like modern era is fucking slamming. I think we have it pretty damn good.
I'm thinking because I don't think I have an argument for that.
But I mean, and exactly, like every other era, it's like you're fucking living in dirt, you're shitting in the streets.
There's some like complete like
you're religious,
terrible outlier.
yeah,
that just
to the
definitely-
point of like self-destruction. You know, like
Yeah.
there's just so much dog shit in history. I think number 2 would be Rome. Like that was the only other time where civilization I feel like was really going at it hard. But then like we're talking about like the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's like the golden age of Islam and all that.
Yeah.
There's ancient China, which was probably pretty good.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna put up there.
Japan, like ancient. Well, actually, I take that back. Japan.
I don't know, just because they're an island. Which it's always harder.
It is harder, but they had a cool history. But I don't know if I would want to live in that history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I don't. Keep it a buck with you. I don't know if I'd want to live out any Asian ancient history.
Yeah, being in Asia and the history in any historical context is like, damn, dude, it's gonna be rough.
I think that's why it makes it so rich and so like lore oriented.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on. Well, I think China, like ancient China, when it was like all together and it was under one control rule, wouldn't be so bad. I don't think it'd be so bad.
No.
Once the Mongols show up, then I'm like, I'm out.
Up.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if I'm any country and the Mongols showed up, I'd be like, I'm out.
I'm out.
Yeah, that's tough.
The big one's the Russians. I used to read about this history a lot. Is the Russians when they get invaded by the Mongols?
I know very little about Russian history, and Russia has always just like not been very interesting to me.
Really?
I don't know why.
Exact opposite for me.
I don't know why.
When I was a kid, I was fascinated. I was like, why are these guys the bad guy of the world?
Yeah, why they are like equal supervillain.
Yeah, and I would love study. And their history is literally like there's a bunch of Slavs. Slav is
Slovenians.
Well, it actually comes from the word slave.
Okay.
So they were slaves for a lot of different cultures, and they would trade Slavs, and then they created a little country up in like St. Petersburg, and it was they were called the Slavic nation, and they were built around Moscow also, and they were called Muscovites or whatever. But eventually, the Mongols show up, and they're just
as they do,
and they just are ruled by the Mongols for years. I think it was like 100 years, 200 years. And they're just, so they have the city, Moscow, and there's just yurts outside the city where the Mongols are. And they're like, everybody in the city, do your Western shit and then give us money and then we won't kill you. And then once the Mongols leave, they still have a lot of like that culture in them, like a little bit of Mongolness.
Sure, 100 years is a long time.
But they also are like, but we're kind of Western. So that's why they're kind of like not quite, they're not quite Western, you know what I mean? They always are like, we're trying to be like France or England, but they're a little weird. They're a little different still too.
Totally.
So they're always kind of dealing with that of like, are we part of the Western world or are we our own thing?
Sure.
And that's kind of been like their history forever has been, we're just a little different and we don't quite relate to the world. I think it's a cool history.
I think that's why they're oftentimes viewed or like portrayed as the bad guy because they've always been trying to be the different one?
I think so because they're enough like us that we understand them, but they're also different enough that we're like, what are they doing? So that it puts them in a really good position to be the bad guy.
Right, because we're like, why aren't you just doing the same thing as us?
Why aren't you just being like us?
Yeah.
And then,
That's a good point.
But China is so different that we were just like, they're just different.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost like alien to us.
Right.
But with Moscow, it's like, just why are you not on the same level? It's just like a guy who's like, no, screw you. I'm going to do my own thing.
Exactly.
It's just a little weirdness.
Exactly.
You know? But they look like us. They kind of sound like us. But there's something off.
Totally.
Yeah. I think that's cool how they just are like in that perfect geographic spot where that happened.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. And it's crazy to think about how differently things could have gone considering where they are geographically over the history of time. And they could have gotten... You know, they very well could be part of China.
They could have. I mean, it's possible. Like they hate China. They've always had problems with China because of the border disputes. They've always been like fighting over borders. But lately, it's been kind of getting better. But I mean, there was a point where the CCP, like when they were Soviets, they wanted to basically incorporate China into the Russian like communist regime, basically. But But back then they were like, communism's going to take over the world.
Right. Everybody's going.
And everyone's going to join. And they're like, oh, the Chinese are into communism. Let's bring them in.
Right.
But then the Chinese realized, like, if we join them, we're kind of just under control by the Russians.
Right.
So there was still, like, this old school way of thinking of, like, wait a minute, we're not just going to give up our country.
Right.
No,
it makes sense.
So then that's when they started doing their own communist theory.
Sure.
And that's why communism doesn't really work, because it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, we're our own country, we're different people. We can't just be like, oh, kumbaya, and all get together.
There's got to be one rule at the end of the day. And,
exactly.
I don't know if that ever happened.
Yeah, but it is an interesting history. I think everyone should learn a little bit about Russian history, just because it puts them, it makes it easier to understand why they are the way they are. It kind of gives it an easier narrative to understand.
This is such a hot take. Is it weird that I don't particularly dive into the history of countries or places that I don't think are like geographically beautiful or like easy on the,
So you're an outdoorsman, is what it is.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I love to be outside for sure. Sure. But yeah, I don't know. Russia's always had the just like gloomy weather vibe to it. And so I feel like that is genuinely why I've never done like a deep dive. And
I will say this, you want to see some beautiful sights, go look up like Ural Mountains, or like deep Siberia, beautiful sites.
In Russia, pull some up.
Dude, I was actually looking up.
You're
going to love this, actually. Hold on.
I would love to see. Because I will say some of the architecture in Russia, super cool.
Amazing.
But it's always gross outside. So I'm like, well, I can't even appreciate these glass stained windows and all this stuff.
Yeah. Here, this right here, dude. So I was getting deep in the Kamchatka Peninsula. So this is Russia, right?
For sure.
How do I get this out of the way? Actually, let's just leave it there for now. So this is Russia. And there's the peninsula. So can you kind of see where it's at?
Yeah, I got the visual for sure.
What if I did this? Would that just go away? Oh, no, it doesn't. Man, how do I move this? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Just drag it.
There it is. So right here, the Kamchatka Peninsula. Nobody ever talks about this place, but it's massive. It's huge, and it's freaking gorgeous. So like, it looks kind of like Seattle. Hold on. So like, look at these vistas and views.
It's like the Florida of
right,
Russia.
but it's super north, and it's super cold
and hilly. Oh wow,
that's a good view right there. And I was looking at this like, dude, what a incredible spot that nobody ever talks about, and it's just empty. Like, it's just out here empty. That's a good shot of it right there. So like, it's above Japan. And but this is not like the more beautiful, let's see, Russian, what's the word for it? Parks? National parks?
Yep.
Oh, that's a good one. Look at that. Oh, that's cool.
That's crazy.
That one looked cool. Oh, where'd it go? Come back. There it is.
Are you like an Arctic landscape guy? Like that one, the snowy one? Do you like that?
I love.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they have deserts on the border of Mongolia.
Wow.
This is cool. Look at that. That's beautiful.
I am Groot.
Yeah, right. That kind of look like Groot. But these are, I mean, it looks very like Montana-ish, kind of.
Looks like Chile.
Oh, okay.
Like the Chilean Patagonia?
Yeah, a little bit like that. But
I think more water, though, obviously, because this is an island. Holy moly.
Yeah, look at that one. That's big. This is all just Siberia, and it's like, it's huge. You know what I mean? Another one is cool, like Lake Baikal. Have you ever heard of this place?
No.
Let's go to Lake Baikal. This one is a really cool spot. It's just a big lake, and the entire lake in the winter freezes over. And then they can skate over it, and it's super clear. Yeah, that's it right there.
That's a crazy cool pic with all the layers.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful out here. But
that is super cool.
I think Russia has a lot to offer, but again, nobody ever talks about it. It's not, because you can't really go there and just without the danger of the political side, you know?
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah, think about it. When you're in school and everybody's talking about, where'd you go for vacation, Timmy? Nobody's ever like, oh yeah, I went to Lake Baikal over in Russia.
Yeah, nobody ever says that.
Yeah.
Russian, what's a good one? Like nature views?
Like best, like most scenic spots in Siberia or Russia. I guess you could do.
Yeah, that would be good. Let's do that. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at that. Look at that water. Oh my God.
Imagine if that was your backyard.
Yeah.
So, okay, go back a pick. Or two now, I guess. So are those air bubbles that froze?
That's
what it looks like. And that's really cool if that is.
I think it might be.
Wow.
I think it is air bubbles. But yeah, a lot of this. Look at this. I mean, this is crazy.
You see, that's the architecture is awesome. Do you have any idea if there's a lot of winter sports that happen?
Look at that.
And why are they glowing? What is that?
I think it's
just the...
Yeah, this is Lake Baikal again.
Oh.
I think it might be something in the water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like reflecting off.
What were you saying?
I don't know. I distracted the shit out of me.
Oh, winter sports?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Did people do like the skiing and snowboarding and stuff out there?
Oh, yeah,
got,
for
like,
sure.
Olympic teams, but
They're big into hockey. They're big into
True.
skiing.
Forgot about that.
Oh, look at this. I love a winter view, but
Wow.
we could never be in the cold like this.
No, me neither. That I will say, I was going to say I don't really like the winter landscapes that much, but that is beautiful. See, that's like the bottom left right there. That building.
Oh,
that's a perfect example of like I think the differences. The mixes between cultures.
Yeah, yeah.
There, because it's very, very. It's just like I don't know. There's so many different like ethnicities and different like countries of origin that you could say inspired a build like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because Russia is like a giant mix of cultures too.
Right.
Like one of the things that people don't know is the word like they used to have czars, right?
Czars?
Yeah, you remember the czars?
No.
So the ancient Russian
Like CZAR?
TZAR.
TZAR.
Yeah, and the ancient Russian rulers, they would call them the czars, and they were like the big.
Interesting.
And the reason they called them that is because they considered themselves to be the remnants of the Roman Empire, and it was Caesar, is what they're basically calling him.
Right, right.
So when all the Russian Empire fell, and it all finally went away because of the Turks, I think, invaded Turkey in like the 1400s. The Russians were like, we're the last bit of that empire, and they started naming everybody the czar of this, czar of that.
That makes sense.
And even today, people call Putin a czar. They're like, he is the modern day czar. So
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they're like I said, they have a lot of that Western culture in them.
Totally.
But they also kind of are doing their own thing. It's weird.
Very much so.
But yeah, that's a place I've always wanted to move. Not move,
really?
but live. But not live, but visit.
Vacation property that you can pop in every once in a while?
Maybe. I mean, but the politics will never get clean enough to do something like that.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Not while he's over there.
What's like a crazy place you would go to?
Crazy place, man. I'd go anywhere.
Don't say Italy. Like, you know what I mean? Like somewhere that's like, damn, that would be a crazy spot,
Japan is not a crazy spot, but I've wanted to go to Japan so bad. There's just so much stuff over there.
Japan is the typical, give me a crazy spot, and then people say Japan.
Right.
But I'm talking crazy.
No, yeah. I'm trying to think. I think it would be a blast to do like one of those like like safari hunts in like just some third world area in Africa.
That would be cool.
And like, literally nobody speaks your language at all.
I was expecting you to say that, to be honest.
I think that'd be super fun.
I think that'd be sick.
I've got ground rules though. I could never do any of the big cats. I could never shoot any of the big cats.
Why not?
They're just way too beautiful.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know.
What would you shoot, like an antelope?
Yeah, it'd have to have 4 legs and be like deer oriented.
Wildebeest?
I could do a wildebeest. Basically
Wildebeest wouldn't be much of a hunt. I feel like it would just be standing there.
I feel like you could just like I feel like you and I be having a conversation, and
Yeah.
you and I could just like aim in that general direction, according to my National Geographic knowledge.
Yeah.
Because those herds and packs are like, of the hundreds of thousands, and we just pull the trigger. We might get 2
Yeah.
in one shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely agree. I don't think it would be too much of a hunt.
I don't think it would be. A good hunt would be like South America. They have some pretty interesting game down there. You could do that.
Totally agree. I've always wanted to go to Chile. I think that's a great country.
Yeah.
Did you know the world's largest pool's in Chile?
Pool.
Look it up. Super cool. Look up.
World's largest pool.
Yeah. Do world's largest pool and then Chile, so you can see the image. It's at a. It's the first one. Yeah, Chile Resort. San Alfonso del Mar.
Wow, look at this.
So it's actually super cool. A lot of people get like scuba dive certified there.
What?
Because I believe that there is a. It's one of the. I did a project on this.
Is this salt water? This has to be, right? This they put this much chlorinated fucking water in just one area.
That is such a good question. We actually need to find that out.
Oh my god!
Because if it is, we need to go into the filtration system. But one of the ends, people get scuba certified in because it's so damn deep.
How deep does it go? Do you know? I guess you don't
I think
know
it was
off
a
the top
couple
of your
hundred
head.
feet.
Dude.
It's 19 acres. Holy cow.
19.
Okay, wait. Click on Book
This?
of World Records for
Largest pool in the world. West of Santiago.
Okay, it's 20 acres, 3,323 feet long. Okay, maximum depth of 11.5 feet. So no, I'm thinking of something else completely.
11.5.
Yeah, so it's not.
Yeah,
this is
that's
literally
not
just
that
a
deep.
big-ass pool.
You might be thinking of something else.
I think I
Yeah.
am.
That's crazy that this looks like it's chlorinated. It does. It looks like it's just a
It really
giant
does. It
pool.
really does.
Dude, the parties in that thing must be fucking nuts.
How many gallons?
Damn, I don't even know.
I don't either.
Oh, here we go. 250 million liters. 66 million gallons of seawater. There it is. There it is.
That's wild. I wonder if it's filtered in a degree.
It must be just pumping the seawater. Because I was like, you can't just pump that much fresh water into something like that.
The plumbing system or the pool systems for that would be as big as the grounds. For the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
complex.
It'd be insane.
Yeah.
It being salt water makes a lot more sense.
Agreed.
But yeah, Chile would be great. I go to South America a lot because my family's Brazilian.
Yeah.
But we'd never been to Chile.
I would
it would
love
be
to go.
cool.
I'd love to go. I think it'd be awesome.
The only thing I know of Chile is that those guys who got stranded in the mountains. You know the soccer team,
Yes.
and they had to eat their family members.
Tough story.
Tough.
Tough.
You have to eat your mom. Tough, dude.
Tough.
Her meat was tough.
Tough. You wanna go? You wanna go watch the game later?
When is it at?
I'm just like doing a hypothetical.
Oh.
Your friend gets back. You have to eat your mom.
You had to eat your mom.
Tough.
I thought you were talking about an actual game.
You wanna watch the game later?
Dude, yeah, eating your mom would suck, but
I don't know if I could. Could you?
eat my mom?
Yeah, like life or death. I guess if she's already been dead for a little while. Like
I've actually thought about this a lot. I could eat a body for survival. I don't think that would have any problems with that.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
But eating a family member,
That's where I'm like, oh.
I'd probably have to eat legs. I would start on the legs.
I don't know if I had the part orderized. Legs wouldn't be a bad spot to start, I guess.
That's what I would have to do. I couldn't eat like my sister's arms and chest. I feel like that would be crazy.
If I didn't know, that's one thing. So,
what do you mean you didn't know?
like if I didn't know I was consuming my relative.
That could be good. Like have someone just be like, look, just carve it all up, make a mash, and
Right.
don't tell me
Yeah.
where it's coming from,
Right.
and I'll just eat it.
Yeah, if I didn't know, that would definitely help.
Yeah, I
But
think that would help.
I think you're right. The leg would probably be.
I'd
Anywhere else
probably
is a
go
little too
legs.
sensitive.
Because that's what they do in the movie. They actually cut the back of the leg first
Back of the
thing.
leg.
And then I was like, yeah, that would be a good entry point.
Right.
And then you can kind of work your way up from there. What annoyed me about that movie is that 2 weeks in, they were like starving and they
Right.
still hadn't eaten a body. And I'm like, dude, I think I would have been like a couple days. I would have been like, guys, we got to figure something out.
I think I would have.
You know what I mean? 2 weeks is a long time to wait.
I definitely would have advocated for like. I agree. In the movie, I feel like there were like way too many characters who were like worried about their appearance.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to die.
It's like, dude,
I'm just going to start
appearance.
throwing out ideas as soon as they pop in.
Yes, dude.
Like if somebody needs to have a voice or needs to lead us in the right direction. I don't know if we'll be going in the right direction, but I'm at least going to be throwing stuff out there. Like,
yeah.
God.
I would have, like, a couple days in, I would have been like, guys, we gotta, like, food is not happening.
Yeah,
we're not getting rescued.
There's no Jimmy Dean breakfast bowls out here, gentlemen.
Yeah, we might need to crack open your mom.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
God, that's so funny though.
It is funny. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Terrible scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible scenario.
It's a bad place to be for sure.
There's been a ton of plane crashes too. I don't think they're still happening, or at least they're not getting reported.
No, I think it's calmed down, but they were definitely hitting.
Yeah, that was wild.
The helicopter one was crazy.
I know, dude. I saw some. Yeah, we don't even need to get into that, but I saw some footage, and I was like, is anybody looking at where they're going?
What footage?
There was there was apparently like a bridge not far away. It was just like a CCTV cam, and there was like, it was like both pilots had just like agreed, like, yeah, this is where we're gonna meet up. Like they just neither of them moved at all.
And they just hit each other.
Yeah, just hit each other and fell straight into the river. Yeah.
You ever listen to black box footage? Black box audio.
Oh yeah. From the
dude.
Yeah, I don't think I've like gone out and like sought after it, but I definitely have.
I sought after it the other day.
Seen it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the pilots are just like, we are in a nosedive heading into the Atlantic. Over, and then the radio tower is like, confirm what's your trajectory, like your spin, what's going on, and they're like, we are spinning. It is not looking good, and then you get like it kind of cuts out a bit, and then you hear like a little bit of and then it just goes dark.
Yeah, it's just done.
And they hit the water, and then there's another plane that's like, can confirm they have hit the water. It's like, damn.
Brutal.
To just hear someone's last words like that is so crazy.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There was a good one I saw, not a good one, obviously, but it was a guy who was skydiving.
Okay.
And he's falling, and his parachute's not coming out. And he has a camera on his head, like a GoPro, and he takes it off near the end, and he films himself, and he says, "I'm dead, bye." And then he hits the ground. But what's crazy is he fucking lived.
It's because he recorded that video.
He fucking he hit like a swamp, so he hit like mud, and he broke his nose, and that was it.
Eric, it's the cameraman never dies. That's why,
dude. He's got main character energy.
He had to flip it around to make sure that he was covered.
Mm-hmm.
God, that is so crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I saw a video the other day, and this was wild because you got to think about like the muscle memory and how often somebody goes about doing this on a day-to-day basis. But it was somebody, it was probably in South America, but it was somebody facilitating the bungee jumping. Like, not the instructor, but like I guess the guide that was right there.
Yeah.
And whoever the like the participant, they're fine, thank God. But they just, they did whatever they were going to do, and start like a little farther back over here and get like, a little jogging start and run and jump off. And she was like screaming kind of, before she went, and the person, I guess like the guide or the operator, because the bungee lines are all hooked up here, he just like had his lines or his arm on the rope, and she was running this way and he was looking this way, and she jumped off and he just didn't let go. And like, I mean, she was not running fast. Like, this is a full-grown lady doing like a little excited trot, if you will, up to jump off of a bridge for bungee jumping. And he's just like looking this way, and he sees her run past, and he's just having a conversation with like the next guy up or something like that. And you just kind of see him start to stumble, and his momentum takes him over, and he's like by the edge already.
And he didn't tie it down or anything?
No,
so he's just holding on to it?
He's just holding on. He is not tied down, harnessed at all whatsoever.
And then he gets gripped?
Yeah, and he just goes.
And he flies over, and they're both over. Dead.
Yeah, and everybody, like, the camera goes like, and she was fine. She was fine. The lady that bungee jumped, she was all good to go because she was all hooked up. He was just like, he didn't even.
Wait, then
have
how
to
did
hold
he
this
get
long.
gripped?
Because
she was attached to him.
Exactly.
So he flies off, and then he hits the ground.
But all he has to do is let go. So the fact that he just held on was so weird. because there was
It must have been
nothing.
tied to him a
There
little
was
bit,
nothing
right?
attached to him. No, he was literally just holding onto it, and he never let go. Like, and you have to realize he was like a step or two from the
Is this a
ledge.
video?
Oh yeah,
We
Oh,
can
yeah.
find it?
Yeah, for sure. For
What should I
sure.
look up?
Bungee jumping instructor gets pulled off.
Get shot
Wow.
is such a twist.
Wow. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it gets like pulled off or.
We go on YouTube. We're about an hour in. You still feeling good?
Yeah. Yeah. We can probably wrap up like 2.
Okay. Instructor. Gets I want to watch this so bad.
I've seen it on Instagram a million times.
Is it one of these?
I'm looking.
Oh, is it this? No, that doesn't look right. Oh, she gets pushed. No, I don't think this is it. I see this video all the time. This one was so crazy. The jump from space. I don't know if I can find it.
I'm not finding it either.
That's fine. We'll leave it. But yeah, bungee jumping is something I have no interest in doing whatsoever.
I did it in Belize when I was I think like 12 or 13, and I had to put rocks in my pockets so that I weighed enough. It was the sketchiest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't care.
Why do you have to weigh enough? What does that matter?
There was like a roller coaster. There was like a weight and a height limit.
Really?
And I didn't. I've always been skinny, and I didn't weigh enough.
You
And,
put rocks in your
My
pocket?
dad was like, just throw some fucking rocks in your pocket.
That's kind of genius.
Good idea, Dad.
Why? I wonder why weight matters. What the fuck does that matter? Like, especially too thin. It's like, the
Because
fuck?
I think like the bands that they use, each one is like calibrated to a certain weight, and if you're not like over, or if you're under that threshold of like whatever bands that they have, there's like a risk that you like, it's supposed to be kind of like a controlled slingshot up.
Oh, so you may not slingshot the way they
Right.
want you to
You
slingshot.
could just like go up like past the bridge, like
Yeah,
you go down
yeah.
perftly, and then you get fucking launched.
You
to the
get
moon. You're like, hey,
launched.
Dad, I'm fucking 60 feet above you now. I know this was a bungee jump, but I'm going to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool that he still was like, fucking do it.
He's always been like that. That's very very much my my family and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time, good vacation too.
Or so you went to Belize just with a family trip?
Yeah, that was just a family trip. And my dad's a big scuba guy. That was like what he did in his free time in college. Shows you inflation. Could you imagine you and I a couple of years ago, like, oh yeah, let's
Go
work
scuba
this
diving?
weekend and then go scuba next weekend. Like,
Yeah, there's no way.
Quick trip to Cozumel is like $4,000 or $5,000
Yeah.
to do all this stuff.
That'll fuck you up.
But
You
anyways,
still scuba?
yeah, he does. He does all the time.
Do you?
I do not. I do not. I've done it twice. I don't do it as regularly as he does.
Scuba, I did scuba once. I wasn't a big fan.
I'll do it whenever we're on vacation and it makes sense. But Dad will like go out of his way and go scuba. Like he just got back from Cozumel, I think, last weekend, and he did a trip with like 3 guys. And I don't have the bandwidth for that or funds. Jeez.
Yeah, that's expensive. You ever? What's like the craziest trip you've been on?
Let me think, man. So this was not like the most exclusive location that I've ever been by any means, because it was in the United States. But I went to, like, this was just the craziest day, I guess. I went to, I don't even remember where it was. It was somewhere like extremely niche in Durango, Colorado. And the only way to get there was by steam engine or by helicopter.
Wow.
And so that was really cool because it was just, you could not access it by roads. And then when we got there, it was I think 36 is too much. There was a 26 like course, almost like a golf course, zip line. And it was like fully staffed to where basically once you started on the first course, you did not stop for like 5 hours later.
So you do one zip line and then you do
Like 30 of them after.
you do 30. So you just like
you just
it's
keep
literally like
going.
a golf course.
Yeah,
then.
and you do not touch the ground.
Dang.
And you do lunch up in the trees. And it was,
that's badass,
it was
dude.
so fun.
It's like a better version of Rainforest Cafe.
Literally, it was super cool. And I think it was number 15 or something like that, because it was in the middle of taking you from one area to the other, because it was the longest zip line by far. And it was the least eventful because it was just a straight line. And you'd think all zip lines are straight lines, but that is not how they had this wired at all. They had, there were like multi-levels. They had ones that went in circles, and they literally, you would get to a platform and there would be a representative that worked there, like fixed into the tree. Like that was their office for the day. It was like they had like basically like a sick bow stand, and they would like once you got to the station of transit, they would take your line, hook you onto the next one, and then like you would go. And it was pretty instantaneous because they had all the tech and stuff to make sure that it happened. So anyways, that's what I meant by, you never touch the ground at all.
That's pretty badass.
I think it was like line 15 or something like that. And it had Aspen in the name of it. It was like the name of the run. And it was because you literally just went through I think it was like 500 yards of, because I remember being like, looking at my dad, be like, 5 football fields?
Yeah.
5. Like mine was blown.
Dad, what?
Yeah, because that was like the biggest unit of measurement I knew at the time, probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was like Aspen Run or Aspen Breeze or something like that, and it was just a clearing and a straight shot full of aspen trees, and it was like seriously like a scene out of like Attack on Titan.
That's badass. You're just zipping through all these trees.
Yeah.
You feel like a frisbee on a fucking frisbee golf course at that point.
That's exactly what it felt like. Yeah, or like a golf ball just getting launched.
Yeah, just getting launched through the sky. I did a zip line once. Yeah, that was the coolest one. That's crazy that you guys there's like a pit stop for lunch.
It was wild. It was wild. I've definitely been to cooler locations, out of the country and stuff like that, where
like a Chuck E. Cheese.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Chuck E. Cheese. What was I going to say? Oh my God. Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's is so good.
Have you been there as an adult?
No, I haven't been back. Actually, well, I went to Pinballs, which is kind of like same realm.
Dave and Buster's is better to like go have drinks at as an adult.
Yeah.
It's actually so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Dude, that would be fun. I mean, what's like your go-to game when you're at a place like that?
Honestly, I feel like every time, and that's so funny. This is making me sound like I'm some like regular at Dave and Buster's.
Dude, that's fine.
I wish I was, dude.
You could be a regular and a lot worse.
True. I wish I had the time though.
I think people regulars at strip clubs is like, what are you doing, man?
What the fuck are you doing?
When the girls walk in, they're like, "Hey, Chad," and he's like, "Hey, what up, baby?" It's just like, dude, what are you doing here?
I can just give you money for no reason.
Regular at Pinballs or Dave and Buster. Go ahead.
But no, now I'm thinking of all the things you could be regulars at that are just like the biggest waste of time, dude. Regulars at restaurants. What the fuck are you doing? So I've bartended before, and dude, oh my God, I bartended at this place during high school. And then did 4 years of college, and then came back and was looking for jobs, and then got licensed in the same summer. And then like the following summer, I hadn't fallen in love with anything yet. I was kind of, pushing the real estate stuff, thinking this may be something, I want to try out. And I was like, all right, let's go back to this restaurant and bartend again and pick up some extra cash on the side.
Yeah.
So I think I just did Fridays and Saturdays and any other day they needed help or something like that. And the same 4 guys that used to come in, I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when I was there in high school, still came in and wore the same clothes.
The fuck?
Like, because you remember what people's like work outfits are and stuff like that.
Was it a work outfit?
Some of them were, and some of them are just, like they just straight up had the same clothes.
And they'd go in
like
every
baseball
week?
caps and stuff. And when you wait on somebody 4 times out of the week, and they come in 4 times out of the week, you start to pick up on like, the clothes that they have and what they wear.
Yeah.
And so long story short, I remember coming back, what is this, like 5-6 years later? And somebody had like the same baseball cap on. Somebody had like the same glasses they always used to wear.
Oh, wow.
And something else. And I'm just like,
These people just are committed every day.
yeah, but they got to spend like $30,000 to $40,000 at that restaurant annually.
Every year. I was talking to someone the other day. They were like, I spend probably $40,000 a year on alcohol. And I was like, that's wild.
Do you spend $40,000 a year on alcohol, or are you consuming $40,000 a year of alcohol? That's the real question. Because I could go buy a bottle of
Well, what are you asking? Like you're wasting alcohol?
No, I'm saying you could go out and spend like a lot of money on really nice. You could go get a bottle of Whistle Pig or I don't know, Eagle One or something like that, and spend $20,000 on one bottle. But so I guess that's what I'm asking. Is he buying super high end stuff, or is he actually
is he
drinking?
quality or quantity?
Yeah.
I think it was quantity, dude. These guys were like frat dudes at a pool, and he was like just natty light, just fucking like some shitty taka, like vodka, and just bumping. And then of course like going out and buying bar drinks, which is like the least efficient way of getting hammered.
Seriously though. Wow.
But to do that $40,000 a year is like oof. And then
There's
remember,
some people that don't even make that much money in a year.
I know. And then there's the Wolf of Wall Street, which is like the complete end of the spectrum. They were spending millions of dollars every year on alcohol and strippers, and it's like that's crazy that people do that.
But it's for business.
I mean, you can make the argument. There is an argument.
There has to be a balance.
But there is, I mean, $1 million is crazy though, right?
Yeah, no,
that's
you'd
fucking
think so.
nuts. Yeah.
Unless you're like, I don't know, man. I'm sure there's like high-end careers where, it matters and there's more emphasis and metrics put on stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Like if you're, there is a, like in sports, there's an agency. Like you and I represent people in our day-to-day jobs. And, there's a lot of advisory things that we do. And sometimes, we have to answer questions or deal with situations that are outside of what we do for work. And, just on behalf of our clients, needs or whatever it is. And in sports, each like super high-end prolific athlete has an agent. And so all that agent does is try to broker out great, endorsement deals and stuff like that for him. And basically is the pin at the end of the day that signs all their contract extensions and negotiates all their terms and stuff with the president, the GM, and the owner of the franchise or whatever team they're playing on. And so like, I never really thought about like what in the world those people must deal with on a day-to-day basis.
What do you mean?
Those people's agents. Like imagine Patrick Mahomes' agent.
What do you think he does?
I just thought that he sat there on his ass and played on his golfing simulator. But apparently there are agencies.
He's brokering deals with like advertising companies.
That's all he's doing. Sitting there grinding it day in and day out. And I found out furthermore that there's an agency that actually has like the highest rate of return on their client's behalf. There's like one
and that's
agency,
how they advertise to get more clients.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I did not even know there's like, across all the different types of sports, there's one agency that represents, like EXP or whatever. There's like the EXP of sports, brokerages. And
I wonder what the comp is on that. That's the question.
That's what I want to know too.
Like if you get Patrick Mahomes a mac and cheese commercial, what are you making?
Exactly. Exactly. And like how does the referral structure work?
Yeah.
If this, I don't know, I'm trying to think like if I I don't know, Brett Favre, longtime commercials with the what are the like stupid sleeves, Copper Fit. Long time sponsorship with Copper Fit, and it's all just like sportswear for older aging people. And like what if the Green Bay Packers already had a deal brokered out with Copper Fit, and they're just like, hey, your star guy is like who we use for advertising.
Yeah.
Does the agent receive any sort of compensation? Because obviously they're going to have to do the paperwork in order to, make it official. Or how does that work? Like how, anyways, I've always thought that was super interesting. So
Yeah.
The payment part of it.
What I think is interesting is, like you said with Copperfit, is the amount of companies that hit up these like Shark Tank or get their product pushed on Shark Tank that you've never heard of.
Right.
That are like a pretty decent idea, though.
Because they get bought out by somebody who's already big, is what you're saying, and then you don't hear about it, or just because you just don't hear about it?
Or like, because you don't, like, the amount of niche ass little products that we never hear, like Copperfit is a perfect example.
Right.
It's like athletic gear for older people.
Right.
Perfect example of like, oh, that's a really cool niche product. And then I'll see people on Shark Tank go up and they'll do their own little niche product. And I'm like, oh, that is something that I guess some people would need, But I don't know. It kind of made me realize, like, dang, I don't use a lot of products that are that niche.
Totally. No, one thing that makes you think about is like, in order to be a successful salesperson or individual, or like start your own business, you don't need to monopolize whatever sector you're selling. Like, you don't need to be the big dog.
Yeah.
Like, you can be the second or third option in whatever sphere that you're slinging deals or business in, and be extremely well off.
And be pretty well off. If it's like a good enough niche, you're fucking good.
Absolutely.
Like the amount of ones I've seen of like wine glass.
Yeah.
Like a wine glass that like attaches to the bottle, so it's like an easy pour. I've seen a lot of that shit.
Totally.
And it's like, who's buying this? Like if you're buying that, you must be buying it off like Walmart. And it's like, but even if you get a little bit of marketing, people will buy that, and you can make a pretty easy, good money, like fucking good money.
Like, advertising is so crazy nowadays. I would love to go sit into like advertising classes and stuff that they do in school, and then like go take a day at like some ad rep firm.
You could probably do that at ACC. They probably have like a course you could take or something.
I say that lightly. I would not want to go back.
You seen Mad Men?
Any sort of classes at all whatsoever. Have I seen Mad Men?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They work at an advertising agency. Have you heard of Mad Men?
No.
It's dude, Don Draper?
Mad Men.
Bro, you've heard of Mad Men. Let me look this up. Mad Men. The TV show. Right here. Mad Men. You never seen this?
I don't. Okay, I've definitely seen that graphic.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I've definitely seen. I know who John Hamm is for sure.
Yeah, so it's a show about these guys, and they work at an advertising firm in the 1950s. Okay. And back then you could like slap ass and do all that crazy shit to girls.
Right.
But they also talk about how a lot of these super and big fucking companies that were big then, and how they got big, and it was all through advertising and changing like how Americans think.
Right.
And a big one was like cereal companies. Mm-hmm. The cereal company was like, we're thinking about doing Kellogg, the best breakfast out there. And then they go to the ad company, and the ad company's like, no. You don't want to do that. And then they tell them how they shaped the advertisement. They're like, how you want to instead do it is say the most important meal of the day is the first one you're going to have. You got to make it emotional. And you got to show the kid eating that every day.
Smile on his face.
A family moment. Everyone wakes up, and we are American families, and we're sharing our first meal. And you're going to want that first meal to be Kellogg. And they're like, yeah, that's better. You know what I mean?
We'll go with that. We're going to run with that.
And then they do another. They have a lot for cigarettes. A big one was cigarette. They're like, well, we're thinking about doing like the better cigarette. And he's like, no. You don't want to just be the better cigarette. You want to be the coolest. And then he's like, you want to be, yeah.
Keep going.
No, that's it.
Well, I just saw a post about this the other day. You should look it up. Camel, the cigarette company.
Yeah.
look at how cool some of their advertisements were in the like 40s through the 60s, I guess.
Is that my phone again?
I think so.
Yeah. Someone's blowing me up. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's a random number. Which one is it?
You have to go to images. They just had.
Is it me, Joe Camel? Because that one was a big one.
Go up and do the Camel smoking ads. Or no, old Joe Camel. There you go. First one. This cracks me up.
Oh yeah,
This
I love
cracks
these
me up.
ones.
This absolutely cracks me up.
But yeah, but look what they did. They made it cool.
No, they made it so cool. It's
That's
for you.
all it ever was like you just got to be cool, man. Like just be cool and have a cigarette.
No, like look at how cool that poster is. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
And then they did the same thing with Dos Equis. You remember the most
Yes,
interesting man in
yes.
the world?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
That one fucking ripped.
Yeah, that one was insane.
That was one of the better commercials. Was the most. He's like because they made him into like a Chuck Norris. They were like, this guy is
Totally.
the coolest dude ever, and he drinks Dos Equis.
Like go back to this one before. Like look at this.
Joe's Place.
Full page magazine article.
And you're looking at this like, man, I want to be cool.
I want to do that.
I want to be cool, dude.
I want to
And
go
then
to Joe's Place.
And then it started doing the movies. Like anyone that was cool or a badass in any movie was smoking cigs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anybody.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and actually, so the government caught on, and now they actually put a lot of restrictions around that.
They did. They put a ton of, and I've heard like a ton of actors. Like, who does Quentin Tarantino always use? Like Brad Pitt. He always features like the same leads. For,
Brad Pitt. Yes, he deserved it. Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson. Kurt Warner. Not Kurt.
Kurt
Warner,
Russell.
that's Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell and John Travolta was in a lot.
John Travolta's been in a ton.
Bruce Willis.
Anyways,
There's another one I'm trying to think of.
I've heard a number of them talk about how like they're it's not like anything crazy, but there's definitely some sort of like rehab process after shooting one of those, like afterwards, just trying to clear your, because it's almost worse for you fucking like smoking those fake cigarettes
Yeah.
than the real ones, because there's like it's like a cigar you don't actually inhale but you do,
And you have to do a million takes.
right, exactly.
So you have to make it real every time, and then you have to rip that every time.
And like the part
Yeah.
that burns is like much worse to inhale than a regular cigarette. or
Dude,
something like that.
acting when you get to the top of the game, you gotta fucking sacrifice. Like another one that people always talk about is the Joker and what he went through.
Oh yeah.
That was a sacrifice. And the parents recently they released the notebook of their
I've
son.
seen it. It's so cool. Like,
And it's like,
cool is not the right word. But it is,
No, it's interesting though.
It is so cool to see.
Because you look at it and you're like, damn, that guy really got
was
in.
committed.
He was committed.
Yeah, for sure.
And then another one I liked looking at was Glenn Powell. This is sort of like his first introduction into acting. Because Glenn Powell was in the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
And he was like it was like my first big scene in a movie. And I'm sitting there and James Cameron is like, all right, so what? He's going to walk in, Bane's going to walk in, and he's going to throw you against the desk. And he's like, okay, great. And he walks in, he throws me against the desk. And he goes, wasn't quite real enough. He's going to throw you a little harder. And he goes, okay. And then he throws him a little harder. And then James Cameron goes to talk to Bane for a second. And then he comes back and he goes, okay, he's going to throw you against the desk. And then he's going to slam your head against the table. Are you okay with that? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And he goes, okay, here we go. And they roll it, throws him against the desk, slams his face on the
shit out
table.
of his face, yeah.
And then he's like, oh, fuck. And then he goes, we need to do it again one more time. Can you do it? And he's like, okay, yep. And then they do it again, slams him. And then he goes, okay, that was it. That was the good one. Good job. Go see the medic. And he's like he's got a huge welt on his head
yeah.
because he got slammed against the table. But it's like, you got to do it. You know what I mean?
my
What are you going to
God.
say? Fucking no?
Yeah, no, James Cameron.
No, James Cameron, the role of a lifetime. I'm not going to do that. You have to do something different.
That is crazy.
Another one was Jonah Hill in what's it called? Jonah Hill in Leonardo DiCaprio making big money. Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
So there's a scene where the drug dealer guy punches Jonah Hill in the face, and he's like, I want you to punch him as hard as you can for the shot. Like, you got to do it. It's the only way to make this real. and he punches him in the face, and they have to do it again. And he's like, fuck, we got to do it again. And then by the end, he's bleeding. And he's like, but then Martin Scorsese is like, all right, you did a good job, kid. Go to the medic. And he's like, okay, thanks. But it was funny because at this point, Jonah Hill said that he knew Leonardo DiCaprio pretty well at this point.
Right.
So when he was like, we're going to go with a version of this where he punches you in the face, Jonah says that he looks over at Leo like, is this cool? And Leo is like doesn't even.
Yeah, don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me. Dude.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, they're speaking of just like funny, I don't know, moments. Who was it? I think it was Brad Pitt, but there was like some sort of F1 race going on. And it was actually like it was being nationally televised.
Yeah.
And there was one or two different like racers getting interviewed, and Brad Pitt was like walking around in the background in like a full white F1 suit, like getting in. It wasn't like BTS shots or anything like that. It was definitely shots that they're going to use.
What was the movie?
It's his F1 movie or something like that. That's about to. I think they're still filming it.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was hilarious because you would see like, you know, the racers like just after a race or just before. I don't remember what it was, but obviously celebrities or just like regular common folk are not supposed to be back there, and so they're getting interviewed by the one camera that is in there. And then all of a sudden, like out of the corner of your eyes, like you'll see, like they notice, like just fucking Brad Pitt, because he's known by everybody.
Yeah.
And then just like more cameras following him around, and you know, then it's so funny because like each racer puts the pieces together differently in their own head.
Like, is that fucking
and some
Brad
people
Pitt?
are like, huh? And then some people pick up on the puzzle quick, and they're like, oh shit, like I know exactly what's going on. Let me focus.
Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
And anyways, that made me laugh, but.
Have you seen the clips of famous people at tennis matches?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Those are actually pretty interesting too. I like the one with Ben Stiller, and he's like, I don't teach him how to act.
Yeah. I love Ben Stiller. Did you see?
I watched Along Came Polly literally the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a funny ass movie.
I think anything he does is pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a bad. Did you see the Disney movie he did when he first like took off? The Fat Camp one?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. It was all over Disney.
Well, he's doing so well right now because he's behind Severance, right?
Is he really?
Yeah, I think he's the producer.
Oh,
he's the
wow.
producer or the writer of Severance.
He's a great writer.
I think he's the writer.
Yep, this is it. Heavyweights.
Click on the thing so I want to see the movie.
This was one of his which thing? Sorry.
The movie background, like whatever the advertisement piece is for it.
Let's go to the images. Maybe that'll be good. You never seen this?
Oh my God, I have seen that.
But it's
my God, yes, he is
like
in that.
pre Ben Stiller. So like this was like his debut, kind of.
Okay, this movie is actually great,
and it's he kills. Killed because he was doing the dodgeball character. Before the dodgeball character.
Yes.
And it's so good. And
that is hilarious.
Dude, I actually need to find that tonight and rewatch that movie because it's hilarious. I think Ben Stiller he's great, but I think he is a better writer because his characters are always like the over exuberant evil guy. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. Or like the super nice, like I couldn't hurt anybody kind of guy.
Agree. Other than Zoolander.
I'm trying to think in Zoo. Well, that was.
I cannot think of a better person to play that role.
That was amazing. Zoolander was. Yeah, he definitely killed that. He killed that shit for sure.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
that is so funny.
Every time I go to a gas station, I think of it.
Of Zoolander?
Yeah, every time I'm at a gas station.
Why? Just because that one scene?
The one scene where they do the gas fight.
Yeah. And
he's like, I lost my friends in a terrible gas fight accident.
That whole movie was just like him recalling things and then them happening over and over.
Yeah. And then the hand model.
The hand model was so bad. What was
apparently that was improv.
I actually did hear about that as well.
So why male models? It's like, didn't you just hear anything I said?
Oh my God.
What were you saying?
I'm trying to figure out what the name was. What was the name of the model that they got introduced to in the first one? That was like the transsexual, like gender neutral.
Oh, the Owen Wilson?
No, it wasn't Owen Wilson. It was oh my God, it was Benedict Cumberbatch played the person.
Stop. In the first movie?
In the first movie, and I think the model's name was called All.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Zoolander. Dude, I remember when I figured out that this was it was Zoolander.
Oh, I
2,
think it
maybe?
is Zoolander 2, man.
Oh, it is. You're right.
Yeah, this is Zoolander
It
2.
It
That is so good though, because he does kind of look like a like one of those extremely deranged supermodels.
Oh, absolutely. No, but I did not know that was Benedict Cumberbatch at first, and when I found that out, I was like, "What?
That's so good."
Like, how did they reach out to him?
Dude, talk about a good fucking actor, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, for sure.
That guy kills everything he's in. Like he's done like Shakespeare in the Park to the fucking Avengers.
Yeah.
And everything I see him in, I'm like, he's so fucking
completely
good.
agree.
Like,
I think he's definitely the best. Well, him and Robert Downey are definitely the best actors for Marvel. Period.
Robert Downey is clearly one of the better ones. The thing about Robert Downey is I don't think he has range.
I agree.
I think he's just himself.
I think that's why he's such a good Iron Man.
And that's why he's such a good Iron Man, is because he embodies that character. But Cumberbatch, he can be funny, he can be sad, he can be drama, he could be anything, and he's fucking always good.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. What else? Have you seen the cast lineup for the new Avengers movie?
So Doomsday?
Yeah.
I have
Or like
not.
so far,
I know that
confirmed
Downey's
stuff.
going to be in it as Doomsday.
They're
Oh, I did actually see some things.
they're bringing back like all the OG.
Yeah.
X-Men, which
The
I don't know how to
OG
feel about that.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're gonna do a movie,
Mystique
and
is
it's
going
gonna
to be
crazy,
back. Yeah.
why would you want everybody to be old?
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to do something to their face to make them look
They're
younger.
gonna have to do so much stuff.
Because Patrick Stewart is like, he's up there.
Who was who's the lady that originally played Mystique? She's like almost
I don't
70
think she's
now.
even known. I think they should have chosen Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Because I think she did a pretty good job.
Talk about Jennifer Lawrence. What a legendary run, dude. Nudes get leaked. Who am I gonna go play? Yeah, I'll go play the naked.
The
chick.
naked, yeah. I felt
What a
bad for her when
genius.
those needs got leaked.
Absolutely.
Man.
I feel bad for anybody. When
I
that stuff
felt
happens.
so bad because it was pretty.
But
it was
also,
pretty bad.
But
Like,
also, like, genius idea going for that character after that happened.
yeah, I think she rebounded, but that must have been rough when she found out that happened. People,
sure.
that must have been so hard
I'm
to go
so
through.
sure.
I really empathize with that. That sucks, dude.
I honestly don't understand how that stuff happens. Like,
I
what, does
mean,
somebody like hack your iCloud account or some shit?
You know, she's dating a guy, and someone's like, "That's Jennifer Lawrence's boyfriend. Let's hack his phone. It'd be a funny joke." They release it on the internet. It just goes haywire after that.
That's crazy.
That is sad, and that's sad, man, to do that because it's like, I don't know, like you couldn't. I feel like it's extra worse for a girl.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like as a guy, if you got a photo of me with my penis, it's like nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, exactly.
But a girl, it's like, especially with that on the face, it's like, oh man, dude, that's rough. And what people do behind closed doors, it's like that's not even that crazy,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
But I mean, that's terrible. I think to leak that, I think that's awful.
No, I completely agree. And it really wasn't that crazy. Like, I mean, it's not like she's got
crazy.
the, you know,
it's
like,
behind closed doors. You know, you're having fun. Fuck.
I completely agree.
But to spill the beans on that is like, come on, man. The fuck. It just makes that's someone else being evil and makes them feel powerful.
Speaking of like celebrities, Bill Burr, did you see his like recent comments up to the like journalists
Oh, he's been shitting on everybody lately.
about them not having any balls?
Yeah, he's been shitting. He's like, you guys have no balls to attack Elon or Trump or anybody.
He's like,
You
what
just
happened to y'all's
let it
balls?
happen.
You guys need to get your balls back. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
The media is
In shambles.
in shambles. They cannot. It's amazing to me how it's 2025 and they're still completely in shambles. They have no idea how to operate a modern
No idea.
world.
No idea.
But they're still hanging on, which is kind of interesting. And I think it's because of boomers. People like my mom and my dad still watch that shit.
I think it's crazy that they're authenticity and genuineness has been like disproved so clearly, especially over the last couple of years, to people like yourself, and I would assume people younger than us.
Yeah.
But the fact that they maintain such relevancy it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's boomers. It's older people.
But it also has to be like funding oriented.
It's definitely funded. There's definitely special interests that are dumping money into keeping those going. But it's definitely an older crowd that's still watching that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, my parents watch MSNBC. They still have cable. I don't even have fucking cable.
I did a lease showing this morning. Like my lease showing was at 10:20, so that's what I did like right before this.
Yeah.
And the tenants, they asked, is there cable? And I was like,
crazy.
first off,
Why do you? Get a Roku.
Let's get your internet provider sorted out. Because that's what needs to happen first, and then we can talk cable. But yeah, like the first question they asked me is there cable? I was like, whoa, that's a first.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy that people still watch cable. Like, imagine going to FX today. I feel like it'd be all commercials.
I want to see. It is, dude. It is. I want to see what the you've seen the numbers. Like, I think there's like more commercials during an NFL and NBA game than there actually is game time. For sure.
And honestly, that's why I hate football.
Yeah.
It's because I think it's just like, dude,
get brain dead.
It's brain dead. It's like 10 seconds of action. And I'm like, can we fucking get this going?
No, exactly. And then I just go like literally every Monday during football season or whatever season it is, the day afterwards, that's the first thing I do in the morning is I just open up, I'm super picky about my highlights. I go to different places for different ones.
To see highlights.
But that's all I do. And I take 10 to 12 minutes and I get every
highlights.
statistic and every relevant piece of information about the game in a condensed period of time. And it's way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But know everything I need to know. I didn't have to waste 2.5 hours, drink 17 beers, and waste $30 on bets and overs and unders that didn't hit to enjoy this football game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like a fast pace. That's I really like soccer.
I
think soccer is like so underrated.
Soccer if they scored more.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of soccer is that there's no commercials.
Right.
It just kind of goes. You can hang out. You're chilling. Like, all right, they're going back and forth. You can talk. You can have a good time. And then you're like, oh, they're getting close. And then it's like the big boom.
Yeah, true.
But it's not just like football is like commercial.
Yeah.
And that's when you're talking, hanging out. But then sometimes you want to be like, God, when is it coming back? You know what I mean? Like we've been watching Popeyes for the last 5 minutes, you know?
Absolutely. Or you try to talk to somebody and it's the big play and you missed it.
And then that happens.
Yeah.
But I mean, with soccer, that can happen in soccer, but I feel like with soccer, it's just like everyone's got an eye on it.
Totally.
And you're chatting, you're chilling, and then, oh.
Totally.
Oh, and then you get a big boom and everyone's excited.
Totally. I can see that.
So I like soccer. Basketball, it's funny how they all have their own energy.
Yeah.
Basketball, I almost feel like is too much.
Okay.
Because it's just like boom, 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 boom,
I love basketball
boom,
because
boom.
of that.
Right, I see the appeal though,
for sure.
because it's fast paced.
Yeah. Oh,
it's just like, and now we're going. There's points getting built the entire game.
Yeah.
So I get that. That I think is higher level to me than football.
Totally.
And then what's another one that people watch? Baseball, I think, is fucking boring as shit. But I would love to go to a baseball game.
Baseball's insane. I will go to any baseball game.
I would love baseball games. I would love to go to a baseball game, but I think watching it on TV is not fun.
I think you're a loser if you watch baseball on TV.
I thought you were going to say the opposite for a second.
No, dude, it's like, what is it? How many games are in a baseball season?
I have
like
no idea.
150?
There's a lot. Fuck, that's a lot.
And it lasts like all year long.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you're going to sit there and watch your favorite team whenever they play for 5 hours a day?
Yeah.
Just so you can see the score be 5-2?
Mm-hmm. I think baseball,
there's like way too much to get angry about.
Yeah.
And like get emotional about.
And it's very slow paced too. It's not like things are moving fast.
No, and it's so subjective because the calls matter so much.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's like when in any sport where the officiating is like has to be
is like making or breaking the game.
Yeah, that's fucking not fun.
Well,
to
you
watch.
could say that about soccer too. Like sometimes the penalty kicks are just like, what the fuck was that
Yeah,
call?
why did they give them that?
Yeah,
that's true.
And
That
it
is
happens
true.
in football too.
But I'm also like I know I'm too naive about soccer, and I don't know and appreciate the game. So that's why like when I say, dude, I wish they just scored more points. Like I understand that that's a stupid take. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not how the game's supposed to be played.
Oh, but you watch soccer highlights. I think soccer highlights are the best highlights. For
I
sure.
completely agree. And like the emotion and the celebrations.
Oh, soccer highlights are the best highlights. Like baseball highlights got to be the worst. That shit's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, yeah.
Oh, he ran. You know,
dude, literally on the way here, I've got it was either Get Up or ESPN on or something like that, and they're going through top 10.
yeah,
Number 3 was some baseball game last night, and the guy just, I'm like watching. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be crazy.
yeah.
He's gonna launch this thing. Shows the pitcher chucks it, batter fucking drills it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be a big one. This is gonna go like out of the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, maybe a millisecond later, I'm like, wait, this isn't even gonna be a home run. What's going on here? And I'm watching this little guy in the outfield just like run, and then he like slides and he catches it, like just catches it right here.
But like
And
a cool
the crowd's
slide.
going crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck did he just do? And
Yeah.
I listen to the announcers, and they're going, yeah, so he covered a area of 114 feet there. The catch probability is 5%. And I'm like, this is why math doesn't matter in sports. And that's all baseball is just a
That
bunch
took
of
number 3.
stats.
Yeah. It's all stats. You're right.
Like that's the only thing that made that catch impressive.
You seen Moneyball?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That movie's
Oh, yeah.
great.
It's great.
That movie's fucking great.
I think you could do any sports movie in that formula and it'd be great. That's just a great
I thought that movie was fucking incredible. I don't watch
That's a
sports,
super good movie.
and I love that movie. I think it's so good.
Dude, I use sports as like a distraction.
Yeah.
Like anytime I'm super busy, or if I've got an offer I need to put together, I've got a seller I need to connect with because we need to drop the list price or something like that, and then I've got a buyer that I need to schedule showings with.
Yeah.
all in a few hours or something like that. I'll just throw on like sports talk radio, and dude, just like hearing a bunch of old men yell at each other and argue about like
Your big basketball is what you said you do?
all of it.
You do a March Madness picks?
Oh yeah, my bracket was in shambles within the first like 2
That
games.
sucks.
Yeah.
Did you do fantasy football last year?
Oh yeah.
I did my first.
I remember. I think we talked about that.
Oh,
a while
yeah.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, I did my first.
It's fun, dude.
I did okay. I got 4th.
It's fun.
I was like, all right.
If you can stay on top
Pretty
of it, it's fun.
good. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Like I don't watch the games or anything, but just like knowing who won, I'm like,
Totally.
okay, I see who got my points, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
Question:
Yeah.
Did it give you any incentive to throw on a game?
No.
Okay.
I still don't like watching games.
Because I remember that's like there were so many people that would sit there and talk and be like, "Yeah, fantasy football is great. It gets everybody so engaged and starts, making people watch the games, this and that." And same with the Taylor Swift stuff. They're like, "Taylor Swift's great because whole demographic turning on the games."
I would say this: if all of my friends in my league slapped on, like they were like, we're all gonna go watch a game,
Right.
then maybe I would do it, and
Or
I'd
it's
be like,
all
oh,
of our
here's my
teams are
player.
playing on Sundays. Let's go
Yeah,
watch.
maybe I would. I
Right,
would do it, but
right.
even then, like I do have a buddy who does it every now and then, and I'm still like, I don't like burning a Sunday just watching TV.
Right,
Like I hate doing that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not a huge. And also back to baseball. I just think there's very limited athleticism in baseball. You know what I mean? It's
Oh my
not
God.
very.
Oh my God, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like you can
There-
kind of be chubby and be
Okay.
out there and make it work.
So this is the thing. How much emphasis does the baseball community have to put on hitting the ball from the pitcher?
What do you mean?
Because that's all they'll talk about. They'll say, name any other sport that has a harder or more difficult element that is a main key component of the game
Just hitting the fucking ball.
that is not baseball, where you have to stand 120 feet away and hit a ball that's going upwards of 100
Copium.
miles an hour.
That's what that is.
That's
fucking
what I'm
copium.
saying too. And my point is always, okay, how many times do they drill it?
I mean, not that often.
Not that often anyway. So
Yeah.
like you don't have to be like, if you look at their batting percentages and all this stuff, like I think I don't follow baseball, but I follow sports in general. Dude, I'm pretty sure anything above like a 0.6 or 0.5 batting average is like in nuts.
Yeah.
you only bat a few times a game anyways.
Yeah.
So like that means if you're making contact and getting to first base, I did that in every single one of my baseball games up until, I don't know, what I was like 14.
Right.
Like, I'm, you know, as long as you're semi-athletic and that's what you spend all of your time at practice doing is
Then you
trying to
can
hit
do
a
good.
ball, then you'll be fine.
Then you'll be fine.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah.
that's what I hear time and time again. It's like,
Yeah.
name anything that's harder. And like it's like, I don't know.
Dude, but
Returning
honestly,
a tennis serve?
yeah, I would agree.
That's insane too.
It's insane. It's insane to do. And you're doing it
Yeah.
nonstop repeatedly.
Yeah, and they serve at like 110.
But they're like, yeah, but it's this one moment. And it's like, yeah, but is that what sports is about? Is that one moment of athleticism? Or is it about continuous, like, operating a problem
Completely
and
agree.
solving a problem? You know what I mean?
Completely agree.
And that's why I think soccer is insane, because soccer, it's like, okay, I have to do a crazy kick pass to him. He's giving me a signal. He's giving me a lead ball. I got to get up ahead. There's a defender, find a way to finesse around him, and then aim the shot in the corner and avoid the goalie.
Right.
And that's like, there's a series of athletic
So many
moments.
variables have to come together. Yeah.
Insane
Yeah.
series of athletic moments that you're dancing around. But then baseball's like, yeah, but we hit the ball. And it's like, shut up, dude. Like, if it goes out, you walk.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
If you hit it far, you did good. If you didn't hit it far, you have a couple of things to worry about.
Yeah. And
If
a
they
lot of
catch it,
times,
you're fucked.
and a lot of times it's like, it's a game of like trying to fish a foul or get a ball or a strike so that you can get a free walk and you don't have to run.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's people avoiding athleticism
Right.
is what
Right.
baseball is.
Right. And then they're like, oh, it's all about IQ. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play the rules.
Yeah, and then they call it mental like
Yeah.
it's fucking chess. It's
Yeah.
like, no, dude.
It's like, no, go up there, crank the shit out of the ball, get everybody who's out there to home base and get those runs.
It kind of pisses me off that we took over the world when baseball was the hot game.
I know, right?
Wouldn't it be
It's gotta
greater?
America's sport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
what the hell?
But now we kind of hate it. Like, wouldn't it be better if we took over the world and made football?
Completely agree. Something. Yeah.
Because then the Super Bowl would be us against like Japan
Right.
and fucking
It'd be so fun.
like Cuba. That'd be
Right.
kind of sick.
Yeah. And we'd win every year.
Yeah. And then we could just smash
Yeah,
them every year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now we kind of surrendered to like the Japanese and the Cubans, where we're like, all right, they're pretty good too.
No, now you got all these oh my God, all these arguments about like best in the world when their sports don't compete in the Olympics. And it's like,
Yeah.
so did you hear they're doing flag football in the 2026 Olympics?
Really? That's actually kind of cool. I like when they do goofy shit like
I do
that.
too.
Like the breakdancing.
That already got discontinued.
Really?
That girl single-handedly ruined it. That Australian chick,
Oh my God.
that was bad. I feel bad for her.
What a fucking run, though.
for
To
her.
go up there 0-0 on the scoreboard, and then they're like, we're never doing
We're
this
never
again."
happening. This is never happening again. Like, think about it, dude. She trained for fucking hundreds of hours to go up there, look like an absolute fool, and to get the sport shut down off the Olympic level.
How bad would you have to be at basketball to make
To
the Olympics be
take
like,
it away.
we're not doing this anymore?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't even think about it. I can't even think about it.
They did, like, skateboarding was pretty new.
Skateboarding was pretty new.
I used to play a lot of pool.
Yeah.
And people would always argue, like, why the fuck is pool not in the
Billiards
Olympics?
is fucking hard, dude.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And it should be an Olympic
How
sport.
is curling an Olympic sport and pool is in question?
Yeah, I think, well, curling, I think, is egging on a little bit more to a sporty level, but it's still
It's like the exact same thing as pool to a degree.
it is. It's fucking bocce ball on ice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, bocce ball is not an Olympic sport. That would be another fun one, to be honest.
That would be a super fun one.
Yeah.
Everybody would be pissed. They'd be like, what kind of grass is over there? There's
Yeah.
too much friction on the leaves of the grass.
Mm.
They're not playing to regulation standard.
You ever play bocce ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love bocce ball.
I'm not any good at it.
Yeah.
While we're talking sports, pull up YouTube again and look up La Fuck You threes.
The fuck you freeze?
La Fuck You threes, like 3-pointers. This is one of the reasons why I like the NBA so much.
Do you know the water or something?
Yeah, I'll take another water. Where are they? I'll just grab it.
Give me a second. I think they might be out in the fridge. I might need to get
Okay.
one in the Garage. What am I looking up?
L-E. L-E. And then fuck. And then U. And then 3 pointers.
This one here?
Yeah. Try that.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
LeBron.
This might not be a good example. Let's see. Okay, yeah, go back to another one.
Trying to see. Let's see. LeBron's signature. Fuck you 3. This one here?
Yes. Okay, LeBron has this awesome habit of just shooting completely unnecessary 3-pointers. And it is like one of my favorite things about the NBA in general and just LeBron in general.
Ooh. I got really into watching Steph Curry threes for a while because he would do the same shit.
Steph has some of the craziest 3 points I've ever seen. There's
He's just doing it in their face.
Well, yeah. Like, there are always times that don't matter, too, which is the funniest part.
What do you mean?
Like, that was the preseason that we just saw.
Mm.
And so that's why people call them fuck you 3s. Just because they're extremely unnecessary.
He does the same posturing in every single one, you know, where he's like kind of
little move.
He's dribbling like, yeah, no big deal, and then just fucking right in your face.
There is where is it? There's the best one is Zion Williamson has a here, go to the search bar. Look up Zion Williamson. And then do LeBron James after that. And then LeBron James 3.
And then 3?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that first one right there. That one. This is the funniest shit ever.
Ooh.
The crowd's so hype, right?
Yeah. This would be the cool thing about the basketball games is just the crowd. Oh, my God. That was nuts, dude.
No reason to do that.
That was crazy. Was that LeBron at the end?
Yeah. You can replay it.
Look at that.
From the logo.
Why?
So that's called a fuck you 3, Eric.
Oh my gosh.
Because so the crowd gets super hype, sick dunk by Zion Williamson. Like, look at the crowd. They're going nuts. Everybody's like, let's go. Home court. Yeah, fuck you 3.
That's nutty, man.
They call
From
that,
like way back.
They call that fuck your highlight.
Oh, because they got a cool dunk and he's like, no, I'm going to
just fuck your
steal your thunder.
Yeah.
So that all the YouTube clips have to fucking rip it off at the end of that.
Exactly.
That's so good.
LeBron is
meta.
so fun. It's so meta.
To be like, I know that you're going to clip that for your fucking reels.
Here you go.
And then I'm going to shit on that clip. That's so
There's
good.
20 seconds left before halftime. We're already winning. There's no reason for me to do this at all whatsoever, but here you go.
That's
Just chunk
funny.
it from half court.
I
Steph
bet-
does that a lot, though. You're right.
Yeah?
He is the by far. Steph is definitely the best shooter the NBA has ever seen.
He, like, the 3-pointers out of him are just like, it feels like it never ends. It's just boom, 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 nonstop.
Did you see what he did like 2 weeks ago?
Mm-mm.
He, the tunnel that they run out from? He launched one from the tunnel.
And he made it?
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, it literally bends in the wind. Like,
That is crazy. Because he's like behind the board almost.
bro, he's behind the other basket. Yeah.
It's
not even
nuts.
full court. It's from the tunnel.
What about golf? You ever watch golf?
I was watching the Masters the first day today.
Golf, I think, is a good one to leave on and watch by yourself. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, golf's a great one to leave on.
To just kind of have it going.
Yeah.
And then you're just chilling.
Golf's one of those things though where you watch it and then you're like, God damn, I could go play some right now.
Yeah, it
like,
gets you itching.
Why did I do this?
It gets you itching.
These guys are so much better.
You got clubs you play?
They make it. Yeah.
We should play sometime.
I'd be super down.
Yeah.
I'd be super down. Where was the last place I played? Oh, I play a lot at River Place, just because that's where my folks play.
Where?
River Place Country Club.
River Place. Okay. I've never been there.
It's a hard course. I would not recommend.
I've been to Avery Ranch. It's up by you, right?
Avery Ranch is definitely more north.
That one was like one of the first courses I ever played on.
Avery Ranch or Falconhead?
And Falconhead, I've been there a lot.
Okay.
Falconhead is, yeah, I've been there a lot. But I'm kind of like burned out on Falconhead. I feel like I've been there too much. And if I'm going to a nicer course, I would want to do something different than Falconhead.
Have you played the ACC?
No, that's the one that's like
that they did the Del Match play at.
Yeah, and you can't get it. You can't get in there as just a rando.
No, you gotta know somebody.
Yeah.
Did you hear about all the drama about why they stopped doing the Del Match play and stuff like that?
No, I think you were telling me this once.
Yeah, it was wild. I think it's like $140,000 for membership there annually, which is absurd.
Yeah.
And then whenever they do the Del Match play every year, it's during the best time of the year. It's during the summer, like the best weather that you'd want to go out and play golf.
Yeah.
And so the course is shut down for like 3 or 4 months out of the year every year during the best time.
What?
And so all the members who pay like fucking 6 figures, they're like,
what a fucking ripoff.
I can't even play golf there.
140 is insane.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. The Steiner Ranch is like 45 for just the basic.
But Austin is kind of like a bit of a hub for golf. Like we are definitely the number one golf city in like Texas.
In Texas, for sure. I don't know. You could argue like Fort Worth is up there because Worth, Dallas not so much, but Fort Worth does have some good.
I just feel like we have a bigger history of making insane players,
and we have more like Austin's so liberal about the nature and stuff like that, and so I feel like we have cooler and more abundance of courses over here in Austin.
Yeah,
because there's just more stuff that's protected.
Yeah, and I can't see Dallas competing with that. I've never played up there.
No, there's courses, and it's definitely something to do, but I would say there's more golf in Houston over Dallas. And then if it were anywhere in Texas, I'd say probably, I don't know, maybe Houston over Fort Worth, but I feel like there are a lot of golf courses in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I go to just like the munis, usually like Riverside. I go there.
Have you ever played at Lions?
Lions, yeah. Been there a couple times.
That's just like a super easy course.
Yeah, I like that one a lot though. There's Lions, and then there's Jimmy Clay and Roy Kaiser down here.
I don't think I've played. Is Jimmy Clay and Roy Kaiser the same course, or are those different courses?
They're two different courses. So
I don't think I've played at Jimmy Clay.
There's 36 holes. So there's Jimmy Clay, which is on one side, and then the other side is Roy Kaiser. I like Kaiser a lot. I think Kaiser's awesome.
A cool course. I don't know actually. I know for a fact I've not played on Jimmy Clay. I do not know if I played on Kaiser at all.
Yeah, it's the same. It's in the same area. The whole thing is just like one big area, but really love that one. And then there's Falconhead is another one. Circle C. You ever been to that one?
Yeah.
Circle C is a good one.
I had a buddy who passed away right at that Falconhead entrance in a car accident, and so I haven't. I don't think I've been. I don't think I've played golf there in a long time. But every time I'm by that entrance, I'm always like,
Peace
up.
They got, you see people put those bikes, like the spray painted white bikes.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it means that someone died there.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently whenever you see like the
I think if everyone steals those bikes.
The motorcycle helmets too. In like the side of like 360.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
That means people have died.
And then the crosses too. Let me get you a water, hold on.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But yeah, that's always sad to see.
I know. I'm like, damn. I should probably run though.
You want to call it?
Yeah. I need to do some stuff with that inspection report from yesterday.
Yeah, that's cool.
Should we end on something or?
No, we can call it. Okay. I think this is good.
Okay.
We're calling it.
We're calling it.